Simulation games comes in all shapes and sizes. We got racing simulators, management simulators, driving simulators, sports simulation, and even dating simulators. But in this video, I round up 10 of the best completely free-to-play simulation games you can play right now on Steam, and I'm trying to keep some of the popular games aside and prioritize some of the newly released, underrated titles that you probably never even heard before. So without wasting any more time, let's jump straight into our number 10. I'm starting with Train Driver 2. It's kind of a hidden gem if you're into more realistic train simulators. It's super niche but honestly pretty cool once you get the hang of it. This one is more like a sandbox style simulation where you can take control of different trains across detailed railway network in Poland. And when I say control, I mean literally everything from switching tracks to operating signal system to managing train speed, braking, and even dealing with some of the real world physics. It's a complete package, but in terms of visuals, it doesn't really hold up that well. But the simulation aspect is where it's actually shine. It feels more like you're operating an actual railway equipment than playing a video game. You can play the game single player or you can hop into multiplayer and work with other players to manage route and stations. Hands down one of the coolest games to jump into, especially if you're into train simulators. Next up, we got Emergency, a super cool real-time strategy simulation where you're in charge of emergency services like firefighters, medics, and police, responding to all sort of chaotic situations. There's not much of a story or campaign. It's more about jumping into missions and managing the disasters as they unfold. For an example, 1 second you putting out a fire, next you're dealing with a car crash or chemical spill. The simulation aspect is pretty solid. You have to think fast, position unit properly, and manage resources smartly, especially under pressure. This free version is a bit limited and there are some mobile style elements and monetization baked into it, but if you're into simulation games that make you feel like a tactical mastermind, this one is definitely worth a shot. When we talk about sports simulation game, it all comes down to your personal preference, but I'd like to add at least one game to our today's list, and that is MLB Rivals. So this one is a free-to-play officially licensed baseball simulation game you can play on PC, where you can actually pitch and hit in real time rather than just simulating games. The gameplay is super smooth with motion captured animation, real MLB stadiums, up-to-date rosters, and even 2025 live card system that will update players based on their actual performance. Right now there are a bunch of game modes you can jump into, including live matches, which is basically online PvP, league mode, rank slugger, and club battles with rewards and different tournament elements. It leans heavily into that card collection and this team building stuff, kind of like the Ultimate Team in FIFA. All in all, a solid sports simulation game, especially if you're into baseball, and if you're into other sports like football, you can always try games like eFootball and UFL. Next up, we got a brand new game called Hardly Working. This one is basically a goofy little office simulator where you play as this guy called Buddy who just try to survive the workday without, actually doing any work. But you got some real tasks to complete before 5 PM, but the twist is you also have to keep yourself entertained so you don't fall asleep. That means mess around, goofing off, throwing stuff at co-workers, microwaving pizzas, and doing whatever dumb things you can think of. It's so colorful and goofy and so much fun to mess around with. There is no deep story or anything, but the whole game is feel like a fun, chaotic slice of office life comedy. It's a funny little game full of silly interactions. So if you want to jump into some casual, light-hearted game like this, it's totally free to check out on Steam. Alright, when it comes to fishing simulator games, there are some popular ones out there on Steam. The games like Russian Fishing 4 and Fishing Planet are super popular. But if you want to jump into more of a casual, easy experience, we got a brand new game called Fishing Friends 3D. So this one is a very chill but competitive fishing simulator on Steam where you can hop into peaceful lakes and cast your line solo or with buddies. Visually, the game does look really good and got some very realistic mechanics too. And on the simulation side, it leans nicely into that realism. Timing, gear upgrades, and mastering your setup feels satisfying without being too hardcore. It even offers speed contests and club tournaments if you are into more PvP and co-op challenges. All in all, a solid simulation game to jump into, especially if you like more laid-back experience. And the game just came out a few weeks ago. It's pretty brand new, so definitely worth a shot if you're into that, and it's totally free to download right now. Trucking Zero is a very awesome looking physics-based simulation game, and it is literally the closest thing you will get to flipping around in real life without risking your neck. And throughout the game, you'll be learning how to do flips, parkour moves, cliff dives, and chaining insane combos. Once you get your timing and the controls right, it is extremely cool to pull off. There is a bit of a deep learning curve, especially when it comes to controls, so a typical Xbox or a PlayStation controller is highly recommended. It's a pretty underrated game on Steam, and I don't think a lot of you guys knew about it. And as a simulation, it nails that realistic physics side. Your aerial hang time, transitions, and impact all feel weighty and tactile. All in all, a solid simulation game to jump into, especially if you just want to mess around with creativity, no objectives, just the flow of the moment. The game is totally free to download and free to play, but there is a bit of a learning curve, something you have to keep in mind. If you're into truck simulator game, honestly there is not a lot of good free-to-play options, but recently we got a brand new game called Truck World Australia. The game is still on early access right now. It's not the full complete game. This is more like an early access demo version called First Haul. It's like a laid-back truck simulator set in this Australian outback, and it's actually feel pretty different from your usual Euro truck vibe. You're not just driving from A to B, you're jumping out of your truck to hitch trailers, strap down cargo, refuel, and even dealing with stuff like sandstorm and fog, all while cruising through dusty open roads. The driving itself is pretty chill, and game try to add some realism with weather and terrain effects, but the game is still very new, still a bit rough around the edges. Some things feel clunky like walking controls and how stiff the truck actually feels. Visually it looks pretty impressive, but it can be a hit or miss depending on your PC setup. But all in all, it's a cool little game to jump in, especially if you're into more hands-on immersive simulation games where you can actually prep your rig and handle things outside the truck too. Palia is no doubt one of the most popular live simulation games out there, and it is like someone mashed Animal Crossing, Stardew Valley, and a cozy MMO into one colorful package. And this game is absolutely made for the one who love cozy, laid-back simulation games. Throughout the game, you spend time gathering resources, hunting, fishing, cooking, gardening, crafting, all those sort of stuff, and of course, ultimately building up your homestead. There is a light main storyline enough to make your exploring feels a bit meaningful, but mostly though, it's all about hanging with the villagers, crafting cute furniture, designing your own dream house, and decorating for fun community home tours. And ever since the game came out on Steam, it's doing a pretty good job keeping up its player base. The game is totally free to play, especially if you're into cozy live simulation games. It simply cannot get better than Palia. Hands down, one of the most realistic simulation games you can jump into, it's no doubt DCS World Steam Edition. It's basically the ultimate flight simulator if you're into realistic flying. It's free to download and comes with a couple of starter aircraft and training planes called FT-51 Mustangs. They all got fully interactive cockpits, real flight physics, and all those buttons and switches you'd expect in a real jet. There is no main story or campaign unless you buy add-ons, but you can play custom missions, explore big maps, and jump into multiplayer dogfights. If you're new to this style of simulation games, there is a massive learning curve, and you actually have to learn how to start the engine, take off properly, and use weapons, and of course properly land without crashing. It's a next level simulation game. I would say somewhat difficult to play with keyboard and mouse, but if you're into extremely realistic flight simulator games, there is nothing better than this on the free-to-play market. Moving on to the top spot, we got Supermarket Together. It's a free-to-play, more like a management style simulator game where you can simply run and manage your own supermarket, either solo up to 16 players on co-op. It is no doubt one of the most popular games on our today's list, right now having more than 8,000 plus daily concurrent players. Gameplay wise, it's all about stocking shelves, pricing items, cleaning up the store, and even dealing with some of the shoplifters and kick them out of the store, which is always a funny sight. You will unlock skill points and new products by earning franchise points and expanding on your shop space. The more people join your game, the busier and the crazier things get. Visually, the game looks very simple, not the most realistic by any means, but it nails that feel of running a store, managing inventory, pricing, catching thieves, and organizing stuff. It is one of those games that is way more fun if you got a bunch of friends to play with you, and it doesn't really take itself too seriously. That is one of those reasons why I personally like this game so much. Well, there you have it, guys. These are 10 of the best free-to-play simulation games you can play right now on Steam. And of course, there are hundreds of other games available on Steam, but I try to add some new and underrated titles, and hopefully you will find at least a couple of them interesting. And finally, as always, guys, if you enjoyed the video, if you like free-to-play stuff, don't forget to like the video, subscribe, and stay tuned to the channel. I'll catch you guys soon in the next one. Stay safe.